Recording in progress.
Yo, what up, folks? I'm your homie Trey Frazier. I got my brother Maestro Styles here with me today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Welcome to another edition of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Special shout out to all of our people watching us on our social media platforms. We're on YouTube Live, Facebook, and Twitter Live. Make sure y'all continue to follow us on those platforms. You can also follow us on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. My brother, man, what's good, man? I see you got the mic and all that, man. What's good?
Shout out to my people. I ain't gonna shout her out on the air, even though she might like that. But shout out to my people who hooked me up with the mic on the random. Let me say that, on the random.
That's what's up. How you been, man? How's the week?
Man, I'm tired as hell, man. Between helping that friend move on Saturday and my daughter running her 5K on Sunday and recording last night and my 9 to 5, I'm a little tired, man.
Yeah, I saw you running out there, man. I saw the little IG story, man. I see you out there, man.
It wasn't as tough as I thought. I mean, because it was cold as hell. So it was half of that run was trying to convince Zari that she needs to run. So quite honestly, it wasn't that crazy for me. It was more the getting up at 5 a.m.
Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah, I saw you out there, man. I was like, oh, here you go,
Yeah.
getting out there. That's what's up, man.
Shout out to Girls on the Run.
That's what's up. So question. So is that a yearly thing for them?
I don't. I know Girls on the Run does do it yearly. I don't know if Zari going to do it again. I'll be honest with you. I got to give credit to her mother on this one. She told her she needed to join a group, or she was going to take her tablet. So that's the group she joined.
Man, that's what's up. Shout out to the Facebook Live chat. Shout out to the Governor Vince Wright for popping through. Shout out to Miss Mocha Bella for popping through.
What up?
Always appreciate the support. I got 3 names, man. Before we kind of get, into it. Lavelle Davis Jr., Deshaun Perry, Devin Chandler. Those were the 3 black men that were gunned down on the bus at the University of Virginia last week, coming from a trip from DC back to the campus. And I think 2 more people got shot also, but those 2 survived. And I saw something on TV where the mother to the son that survived was just kind of telling the story, and just sad, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised this is not as bigger of a story as it should be. And, I think there was another story where somebody from New Mexico State got killed on campus also. The name is escaping me, but, it just got to get to a point where I hope this doesn't become a normal thing, where you put your kids to school, you put them on campus, and, you don't know when you're going to see them again,
Condolences and rest in peace to the people who lost their lives, and condolences to the family. Let me start with that. You're right in what you're saying. I guess I don't really want to. I don't know, man. It's Thanksgiving holiday. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to spread no bad energy as if they ain't got enough going on in their life right now. But for certain.
Certainly thinking about them. We certainly thinking about the families and all that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For certain.
Rest in peace to those. For certain there. But on a positive note, your team has got a matchup with the Colts Monday night after the holiday.
I don't know how. Hey, look, man.
What's up?
I don't know what to think of my team right now. Well, yes, I do. I'm lying. I know you was just trying to intro to what was going on.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry.
I wanna
I'm
make
sorry.
sure that.
Well, go ahead and intro it. Go ahead.
we
I
let
won't
the
give
people know.
I won't give my thoughts. Yeah, go ahead and intro.
We can do
My
that
fault.
though. We can do that
No,
a little bit later.
I'll wait. You're right. I'll wait.
I want to make sure I get this out real quick. So we got a gentleman coming on in about 20 minutes. He goes by the name of Chris Lewis. He's a writer for IndieIntercept.com, which is a Colts fan page / blog, / you can find everything Colts related. So he's going to be coming on. And I tried to get his co-host to come on with us also, but she's been under the weather. And she's been kind of putting updates out there on Twitter every day, and she's just kind of going through it right now. So prayers to her, and
sure.
Get well soon. Her name is Megan Hall. I want to put that out there. Megan, get well soon. But we're gonna have Chris on in a few minutes to just kind of talk a little bit of Colts. They had a matchup with the Eagles this past Sunday where they dominated the game, and then the last 2 minutes, Jalen Hurts happened. So, we could talk about that. Obviously Colts and Steelers Monday night, that's coming up. And, just the whole Jeff Saturday thing, Frank Reich, what the state of the Colts is at this point. We'll touch up on all that. Since you were a little bit reluctant to talk Steelers, I guess I'll go into the Ravens' little, 13-3 win over the Carolina Panthers, which people still got something to really complain about, and I kind of understand, because we had 2 weeks off, and the last game we played was in like a 23-day span, so you would have thought the Ravens would have been dialing up and be ready to be lock and loaded down the stretch with the schedule that we got. And right. I gotta tell you, bruh, when that thing was a 3-3 ball game, in the fourth quarter, I'm just like, okay, I guess this is how it's gonna be. The rest of the way, this is how it's gonna be. But the defense did its thing. Granted it was Carolina. Granted it was Baker Mayfield, and I don't know how much truth there is to the PJ Walker injury that they announced last week. I'm just more on the lines of, well, you're starting Baker because Baker's played in this division before and he knows the Ravens pretty well. That's kind of what I was getting from that, because I didn't see from the previous Carolina game where I thought PJ Walker, injured himself, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it could have happened during the week. It could have, those types of things. If you're asking me what I really think, I think they paid Baker Mayfield to be a starting quarterback, and now that he's healthy, they put PJ Walker back on the bench. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that's right or wrong. I heard I was on Instagram earlier today. I heard that Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp had a quote unquote heated exchange.
Yeah, because Baker is Skip's boy, right?
yeah, and I guess Shannon Sharp got a little animated, got tired of hearing Shannon shit on Baker Mayfield. But to Carolina, if you paying the dude to be a starter. I mean, but it's funny, Sam Darnold has been named the starter for next week, and
that's what I'm saying. It's like,
but it's like,
why the back and forth here? Like, that leads to me, like, hey, they started Baker because he knows the Ravens and they thought they had an advantage. I mean, that was just my personal opinion about all that. But the fact that he's not starting next week tells me that was more.
They don't know. It also tells me they don't know what the hell they're doing.
That could be true.
I
also,
mean, no shade to Steve Wilkes, but
that could be true too. It's Carolina, and they've made some terrible decisions over the last 3-4 years. So,
I mean, unless PJ Walker's really hurt. I mean, unless that's the case.
Yeah. Well, what's wrong with Baker this week?
Baker, from what I understand, Baker wasn't very good Sunday.
He wasn't. But like you said, they paid that man.
They definitely paid him.
They traded assets to get that man,
Yeah.
And if he's your guy, he's your guy. If not, then what's with the QB carousel? But I don't want to talk too much Carolina football here. I'm just more focused on what my team did. And look, you get out there with a win. That's really all that matters to me is getting the win and just kind of focus on next week. And as I alluded to earlier, the schedule is soft. We got Jacksonville next week. We got Denver after that. We got you boys twice. Browns. Bengals is the final game. I think we got Atlanta in there somewhere in the mix there. So the schedule's soft, but we got to capitalize on these teams and just kind of, put what's in front of us. You know what I mean? We got a chance. We got a chance for a 1 seed if, things, break our way and if, things break with, with the other teams in the race for that 1 seed. So, but that's really all I got on that as far as that's concerned. What you got?
Well, yeah, y'all definitely are in the race for a 1 seed. I don't think you'll get it, but you're definitely there. So it's good that you have the soft schedule. As far as Pittsburgh, look, man, the one time we scored 30 points, got over 20 points in the league in the year,
Yeah.
and we couldn't the offense, but it's just the offense. The offense wasn't scoring in pivotal times they needed to score. And for me again, the onus falls on the offense because the defense can't keep holding. They just can't keep holding if the offense is not going to score behind. If the offense is not going to score when we hold, and that's really all I have to say about it. The growing pains of Kenny Pickett. I'm hoping, to be honest with you, I'm just hoping that he's the guy, and that we find out next year that he is the guy that that was drafted in the first round.
Yeah, you definitely have a right to see it that way. I kind of saw it differently, just flipping back and forth between the Dallas Minnesota game and this one. I thought that first half was a real competitive first half.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, if you're talking about half by half, I kind of gave the 40, the view from 40,000.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. The first half was a very competitive half of football on both sides, right?
Yeah.
And I think those growing pains that you're referring to, offense not scoring when you need them to score, that was all the second half for the most part.
Right.
I thought the T. Higgins, the hit where he didn't get hit, but he came down on his backside a little bit hard, and I thought that was kind of it. Like it was a T. Higgins show for a little bit until that particular moment. Then I thought, oh snap, this is probably where the Bengals are gonna kind of unravel a bit here. And then you hear Joe Mixon went out the game, and that was it. But then the backup running back P. Ryan scores. So what he scored 3 touchdowns in the game.
Yeah.
So that kind of was them having a guy step up in the absence of your starter. But yeah, I thought for a moment there the Bengals were gonna unravel, and then P. Ryan did his thing, and then T. Higgins actually comes back in the football game. Didn't really do much after he came back, but then Tyler Boyd kind of shows up toward the end there, and like you said, that's where the Pittsburgh offense just kind of had their moments of kind of some stall drives there, and
and it goes without. It needs to be said. Joe Burrow is getting back into form. That needs to be said because he wasn't so good earlier in this year.
Yeah.
He's definitely coming along, and as somebody who has him on his fantasy team, you could see how he hasn't been so good in the beginning, and how he's gradually getting back to the kind of quarterback that you would draft in a fantasy football. Even though I didn't draft him because I missed that draft.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So. That needs to be said, that he's definitely getting back into form and to more of the quarterback that we expected to see early on in the year.
I'm glad you brought up your fantasy football team, because I was just looking to see how my team was doing that week, and obviously it was a bad week for me, but I noticed your lineup and I was like, man, you got a bunch of Steelers on that bench. this week. I don't remember the names exactly, but I know you had one Steeler starter in there, and then I
I
think
had Pickens starting and I had Burrow starting. I got
the
Deontay.
defense, right? The
Yeah,
defense.
well, let's be clear. I haven't played that defense since like week 2.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't
Who's the
played
defense you've been playing?
Dallas.
Dallas. Okay.
Yeah,
I can
and
understand.
they've been doing numbers.
Understand.
Yeah.
Yep.
And George Pickens has just he's like starting to get a couple of more targets. He got into the end zone this week and last week. So he's starting to pick up a little bit. Deontay Johnson, I seen that somebody dropped him, so I picked him up, but I haven't started him.
Gotcha.
Since I picked him up. Yeah.
Gotcha. I did see the numbers. They weren't,
Yeah.
they weren't difference-making numbers to get you to win in the fantasy football joint. But
yeah, Deontay Johnson is definitely letting the Steelers down, and I don't know if it's because of the quarterback play or not.
Yeah.
But he's definitely letting me down and letting us down as an organization and fans this year. He's not, especially off of getting a contract. I'm hoping it's got something. I'm hoping it has more to do with the quarterback play.
Yeah.
And maybe he's getting more attention than normal because he's the number one right now, and you know what I'm saying. So maybe that's it too. But he has definitely not. He's definitely been a letdown this year.
So 7 losses, and it's got to be 9 for it to be his first losing season, right?
Yep. We got Baltimore
2 times,
and I believe we have
Cleveland. Cleveland one more time.
Who spanked us, and they spanked us in the running game last time we played them. That's what concerns me.
Yeah, I think all the other games though. Atlanta, you got the Colts this weekend, the Raiders down the road, and I'm missing another opponent, but
I don't know.
Winnable games.
Yes,
there.
You would hope. A man can only hope. That Tom can get that record.
Yeah, it's looking.
It's looking bleak.
Yeah. You use the exact word I was about to use. It's looking bleak, bruh. With the Bengals though, man, I don't, and they've played some good ball the last few weeks, man. I don't like their schedule to kind of close out, bruh. And I know they got the 7 seed right now because the Jets, and I could talk about them in a little bit, but I don't like their schedule, man. Titans, Chiefs, Buccaneers, Buffalo, late December, and then they got us the final week of the season. And that's gonna be tough for Cincinnati, man.
Yeah, I wasn't so concerned going into the year about playing all those teams because I thought they would be I didn't think they would be as good as they were last year, like a Super Bowl, going to the Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
But I did think that they would be able to pull a few of those games off where they would still be in a decent position to be in at least be in the playoffs or be in the hunt, let me say. So, but now, I mean, I don't know. It might be the right time that Joe Burrow's catching fire.
Right.
To
right.
be honest with you, it might be the right time.
You probably think they split those games that I referenced, and I forgot to include the Patriots game in there, even though I still think the Bengals, talent-wise, are better than the Patriots. But
that's clear. Yeah, I think they beat the Patriots for certain.
You think they beat them for certain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not crazy to say that, but nonetheless, the Patriots, and that's going to be a playoff game because they're kind of positioning themselves to be a wild card also. So I don't think that's an easy game. In addition to the other opponents that I mentioned here, but you got to think if Joe Burrow was coming to form, you figure at best they split all those games that I mentioned there. You figured maybe they go 3-2, 3-3, someplace around that. And if they did that, you're talking about 9-10 wins. I think 10 in the AFC. I don't know if that's certain to get you in.
Yeah,
with some of the other. I mean, because you still got the Chargers that are outside looking in right now, and they kind of lost a heartbreaker to Kansas City on Sunday night. So, their schedule is a little more favorable than Cincinnati's, and the Jets, the Jets. So I saw someone say on Twitter the other day that New York football died on Sunday, and that wasn't just talking about the Jets. That was talking about the Giants also with them losing
dramatic.
to Detroit.
It's so dramatic. They gotta relax. It's so dramatic.
Well, do they gotta relax?
It's so dramatic. Okay, they lost to Detroit this week, and the Jets lost. Whoever they lost, I don't remember off the top of my head. The Patriots.
Yeah.
Well, who we're calling a good team right now, by the way.
Sure.
Like, come on, like, is the season over? Is like, I get that that's a bad loss, and I get the Giants is even a bad loss considering that Detroit isn't a good team. They're like a feisty team, but they're not like a good team. So if you're trying to prove that you're a playoff caliber team, that's not a good loss to put on your resume.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, man. You're gonna lose games, man. Like, you're gonna lose games. Let's not overreact. Like, this is the end of football for the New York teams. Like, these teams are still pretty much in the hunt.
They're in the hunt, no question.
Yeah.
They're in the hunt.
They're in the hunt.
But I think go ahead. My bad.
They're overachieving. They're overachieving. The Giants and the Jets are overachieving based on what their projections were this year. So like, let's relax.
Yep.
Relax.
So I think the overreaction is not just because they lost to these teams. I think if you dig deeper, in the case of the Giants, they had a guy, Wan'Dale Robinson, kind of have a little breakout game against Detroit.
Yeah.
And he tears his ACL and he's out for the year. And so now there's still this revolving door of wide receivers for the Giants. I mean, Sterling Shepard's not coming back. They traded Kadarius Toney to the Chiefs. I mean, who's in that room? You know what I mean? As far as wide receivers concerned. I mean,
it's not like that's been the problem all year. And I get that he had a good game, and I get why that's a sense of concern. But at the same time, it's not like wide receivers have been super mass producing in New York to any stretch of the imagination. So it's just like, at this stage of the game, man, just y'all really are on next man up. Nobody has stepped out to be the guy in New York. So,
right. But bodies are dropping. I think that's the thing. Like, bodies are dropping and they're getting sent off. I mean, Kenny Galladay he's still on the roster, and the dude hasn't been producing. He hasn't been playing for some of these games.
Man, go on and get in that waiver pool and go get some bums and be just the same team. Let's be clear, man. Like, you're not expecting, at this stage of the season, you're not expecting super production from the wide receiver core of the New York Giants. You're just not. Not.
Sure, but if they're gonna establish themselves, and I get it, they're 7-2, and they're sitting pretty good right now. I think they're the number 6 seed in the NFC right now. But if you're gonna go out and compete with the Philadelphia Eagles twice,
but they're not,
the Commanders twice, you still got to play Dallas in 2 days from now, and you got to go see Minnesota. Like, I mean, I can understand a little bit of overreaction. I mean, you get to 7-2 when you're like, okay, if I'm a Giants fan, yeah.
It's not like you got to 7-2 because of wide receiver play.
No,
so you're not gonna.
I understand that. I understand that point of it, but the reality is that you've had bodies drop from week 1 up to this point, and now you got a tumultuous schedule coming. Whereas, oh snap, this team's 7-2. You know, our expectations have changed a bit now. Like, now, fans and even the team themselves is expecting to make the playoffs, even though, as you said, they're overachieving. The expectations have changed at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that, but at the same time, I don't think philosophy changes because expectations change. At this stage of the season, you got to play games just like you've played them when you've won them.
Yeah.
So it's not. So again, it's not like they're gonna come. It's not like just because they're playing these top tier teams that all of a sudden they need a receiver to start becoming. I mean, would it be nice if it happened? Absolutely. That would be good if it happened.
Right.
But it's not like you're playing the game hoping that the likes of whoever the hell is on that roster is all of a sudden going to start going crazy, or that Daniel Jones is going to start throwing the ball all crazy. Like they know what their strengths are, and they know what their weaknesses are. They're going to play to their strengths and hope that that's enough to win a game.
Yeah. And I didn't even mention the dude that was in Cabo during their bye week and had the ATV accident, and he's a safety for the Giants. I forget his name, but he injured himself during that trip, and he's got to miss 4 weeks. And that's one of your better defensive players on the team. So you combine all that with what just happened this past week, and now Giants fans, they got something to be worried about. But I hear you, bruh. It's the Saquon Barkley show, like it's kind of been all season. They're gonna ride with him until those wheels fall off. And for Giants fans' sake, I hope those wheels don't fall off, because I want to see Saquon Barkley have this bounce back type of season as a top 5 running back.
Maybe they come back to earth. That's all I can say. Maybe they come back to earth. Maybe that overachievement comes back to kind of what we were expecting this team to be.
Yeah, the schedule sets up that way.
Yeah,
it sets up that way. Who would you say is playing better football right now, the Giants or the Commanders?
Commanders.
I agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that. So
you gave them their name now, huh?
Yeah, I figure why not? They're playing some good football.
Yeah.
When they screw up, I'll call them the Commodores again.
Yeah.
As for the Jets, right? Yeah, that was some terrible quarterback play on Sunday, bruh. And I get that the quarterback didn't turn the football over. I get it was a 3-3 ball game until 20 seconds left in the game. I get that the special teams gave up a punt return to kind of seal the game, but bruh, like that was some shit quarterback play on Sunday.
But what they saying on the other side though? You're talking about the Jets in particular. You're talking about both teams.
The Jets in particular.
I didn't see this game, but what did they? I mean, for the other quarterback, did the other quarterback get in the end zone? No, apparently.
No, but
right.
And look, I'm not praising Mac Jones. I'm not doing that, but just to throw some numbers at you. Zach Wilson, 77 yards passing, only 9 completions.
Yeah.
2 yards of offense in the second half.
How many
alone.
attempts? How many attempts though?
I'd say 24. I think about 24 attempts.
That's bad.
So yeah, and that's bad. And again, that number 2 yards in the second half passing, not what you want to see from the quarterback. Whereas Mac Jones, over 200 yards passing, completion percentage around 70%. Better numbers, still didn't get in the end zone, but was able to move the football on the Jets defense that we think is a good defense. Maybe not the best defense, but a good defense nonetheless here.
But I don't like. Let's pause and bring in our guest.
Yeah. Let's do that. So we got the homie Chris Lewis here from IndyIntercept.com. He's a sports writer for that website. Covers the Indianapolis Colts. Chris, man, welcome to the show, man, and thanks for doing this, man. I know you out there on the West Coast, so it's about 4:30, 4 o'clock on your time.
Yeah, it's around like 4:03 over here. But thank y'all for having me, man. Thank y'all for having me on.
Yeah, no doubt. Go ahead, Maestro. I think he's about to say something.
No, I saw Ravens in the background. I was going to ask, was he a Ravens fan?
Nah, so I'm a Colts fan. My son is a Lamar Jackson fan, so I bought that for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. That's what's up. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that too, and I was like, wait, Colts, Ravens, like, that's kind of not a good mix given the history of the Colts in this town here.
Yeah, I'll shoot you some bail because I'm trying to teach my daughters to be Steelers fans. And I got my oldest, but their mama got the second one, and she a Commanders fan no matter how much I try to teach her otherwise.
Yeah, my son, he's a player fan, so like he don't even really have a team. I mean, we're in Seattle, So his mom and his grandparents, they all Seahawks fans. But I moved up here and I'm the lone man out.
I could dig it.
Oh
I
wow,
could dig it.
wow. What's it like living in Seattle? What's that like?
So man, it's different. So I'm from Florida originally. So I've been all over the West Coast. Like, well, not all over the West Coast, but from Florida to Cali, and I've been around the sun a lot. So to be up here in Seattle, it's a little different. Right now, it's kind of gray. We in that rainy season, so it's very gray outside. It's cold and it's raining, but I mean it's cool. It's cool for the most part. Everything's expensive though, so that's the only thing that really sucks.
Mm.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. I want to talk a little bit, and I appreciate you having a Yankees logo up there too. I know you a big time Yankees fan too, because we always go
Yes,
back
sir.
and forth about Aaron Judge and the contract and all that stuff. Talk to me about IndyIntercept.com. Do you own that website, or are you just a contributor to the website?
I'm just a contributor to the website. Meg is the one that actually got me into it. So she's the head editor, and I'm just a contributor writer for the website. But it's actually, I think, owned by Stadium Rant, and so they
Okay.
own like a bunch of different sports team
I've
website,
heard-
have people writing and stuff. And so Meg actually got me on to Indie Intercept and to writing for the Colts and everything. But it's been cool, man. I've enjoyed it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So Colts. How did you become a Colts fan?
So, man, it's weird. How I pick my sports teams is weird. But when I was growing up, like my mom and my dad, they weren't really like big into sports. I mean, I played sports, but like they wasn't big. My mom ran track, my dad was in the military, so like, there's a different dynamic there. But when I lived in Virginia, the Colts were like, I forget who they were playing, but I just know they was one of the first teams that I saw playing on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, it was just like, here we go, Colts, man. Like,
Was there a particular player that you liked that played for the Colts?
I mean, Peyton is probably my all-time favorite Colt, but like, that's about it. I mean, there's a couple others, and I know, in the show we're gonna talk about my top 5 all-time Colts and whatever. But it was definitely Peyton and just how he played the quarterback position for real.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out Cato June. Cato June is from my neighborhood in DC. Anacostia obviously won a Super Bowl years back. Came back to Anacostia, coach, and now is on the staff, if I'm not mistaken. Cato June is on the Colts staff.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is. Because remember when they got rid of Frank Reich, people were saying, "Oh, Cato June should be a candidate to be an interim head coach."
I believe so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Cato June. I was just telling my kids about him.
Yeah, so let's talk about this too. I want to do a little bit of recap of your game against the Eagles on Sunday, where y'all dominated the game. I felt like for about 58 minutes, y'all dominated that football game, and then it looked like Matt Ryan had a few bad plays where he could have just threw the ball away, a turnover here, turnover there, and then it became a 6-point game, and y'all settled for field goals, and it got to the point where Jalen Hurts, was like, oh, now we gonna win this game. So, tell me what you were thinking as that game was going on.
So yeah, as the game was going on, I mean, I thought we did that first drive it was amazing. Like, it was a good first drive, start off the game. And I thought that was, what was going to come the rest of the game. But our offensive line couldn't get any more push up front. It seemed like, and then, like you said, later in the game, our Matt Ryan, and I'm not blaming the loss on him because it's not solely his fault. It's as a whole, it's our offense's fault. But he took a couple sacks where he didn't need to. He made some field goals longer than he needed to make them. I think we were, I think the rest were kind of making up for last week when it didn't call the blatant face mask on Matt Ryan. I mean, you're in open field. It wasn't like the Dallas Goedert face masks where it's a crowd of people.
Yeah.
But the back judge is right here.
Yeah.
And he's grabbing his face mask and you don't call anything. And that was one of the times where we were in the red zone and we needed to score right there. Like, we needed to score right there because that makes it a 2-possession game. We're up 10 points. You got to kick a field goal, got to score a touchdown. And with the time that was left, we pretty much sealed the game right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we would have got that face mask call, we would have gotten to the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that hurt us a lot because we kicked that field goal. And I'm not taking anything away from our defense. Our defense played an amazing game, man.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you're holding this team to 3 points for the majority of the game. It's hard to go back out there constantly and not give up points.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that, man. They did that into the fourth quarter. Your offense has to do something. Our defense got the offense the ball back after the AJ Brown reception. And they caused the fumble.
Yeah.
And that was after the Jonathan Taylor fumble. And I'm laying, because I was in Vegas and I'm laying on the bed watching on my phone. I'm like, I need a turnover right here, man. I need a turnover right here. And we got the turnover, but we didn't do anything with it. We kicked the field goal. Like, it's things like that where it's like you got to be able to do something right there. Defense can't bail you out too long. They're eventually going to give up points, and if you're not putting up points, then it's going to be an easy game to lose.
Yeah, especially with that offense. I mean, we know what that offense has been doing all year. I gotta agree to give y'all kudos because you keep Philly under 20 points. I mean, that's a hell of an accomplishment this year. So for sure with that. I want to get into Jeff Saturday, man. There has obviously been a whole bunch of criticism and banner, let's say, about the Jeff Saturday hire. And really, in my personal opinion, maybe they fired Frank Wright a little too early, but what's your thoughts on it?
So I've been saying it was time for Frank Wright to go, man. And the day before they fired Frank Wright, I had tweeted, hey, if you're watching this and you think Frank Wright needs to remain the coach, Jim Irsay, you might as well sell the team. Like, it was time for Frank to go. And I mean, and it's nothing against Frank. Like, I don't have any, hard feelings against Frank or anything. He was an amazing coach while he was here. But sometimes the team just needs a different voice. And it showed. Like, we constantly started off slow under Frank Wright. We constantly, after a certain time of the year, we started hitting our stride and we took off. But the constant starting slow, not making the playoffs, not winning the AFC championship or even the division under Frank Wright, like, at some point, you gotta let things go. You just gotta cut ties. Yeah. So I wasn't mad with them firing Frank Wright. I hope Frank Wright goes and finds success wherever he goes. But the Jeff Saturday hire, man, it's unorthodox. It is what it is. That's Jim Irsay for you, dog. Like, that's just him. Yeah. That's Jim Irsay.
Yeah. I got
and
to
it
thinking.
Comes with the jokes.
I mean to cut you, man, but it got me to thinking when that transaction happened. It's like, man, the Colts really have one of the more dysfunctional front offices / ownership groups in the league. It's just that it's been masked so many years because they had Peyton Manning as the quarterback, and he kind of masked the team's deficiencies, even at ownership.
Yeah, when you have a quarterback like Peyton, when you have a coach like Tony Dungy, then you have a Jim Caldwell, you have an Andrew Luck. Those mask a lot of problems. Like, they mask a lot of problems. So I mean, you go from one generational quarterback to the next, and you're able to mask a lot of problems with that because you're able to win games even in the midst of the dysfunction. And so Jim Irsay, I mean, everybody knows about Jim Irsay's troubles outside of football. And I'm not saying he's back doing what he was doing. I just think Jim Irsay is just a very unconventional owner. I think he makes unconventional decisions. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Like, you look at it, because my point when it first happened, I was like, we're tanking. Like, if you can't see that we're tanking, I don't know what to tell you.
I said the same thing. I said the same thing.
But then we went out there and we beat the Raiders, and then we went out there and we was competitive against Philly. So I don't really know what direction we're going in right now. I'm kind of lost with the whole thing. But my thing is, what if Jeff Saturday works? Like, what if the unconventional hire? What if it leads us to winning games? What if it leads us to actually looking a certain way that we've looked before? Like, what if it works? What are people going to really say then? What are Colts fans going to say then? You know, so who knows? I mean, we lost 6 games now. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
Who do you blame for the hirings of Matt Ryan and before that Phillip Rivers?
So I think those were Frank Reich decisions. I think Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and Matt Ryan were all
And Carson Wentz,
but at the same time, and I'm not mad at either one of those because in the midst of us not having Andrew Luck, we've still been a competitive team. So it's hard to get your franchise quarterback when you're still one of those top 15
teams,
top 10 teams. Like it's hard to get your franchise quarterback that way. And you know, franchise quarterbacks don't come available like Deshaun Watson. I mean, you know, we know his issues or whatever, but they don't just become available. That's not what happens. You're usually on that team for a while.
The year that y'all had Brissett starting all those games, right after Andrew Luck announced his retirement, I thought they should have gave Brissett another year because if I remember correctly, guys like T.Y. Hilton and others had injuries, and you kind of saw the depletion of certain parts of that team where I thought it was a little bit difficult for Jacoby to overcome those things. So I thought if you got those guys back fresh off of a good offseason, you come into the year fresh, maybe Jacoby is successful the following year. What do you think about that?
So I wouldn't have been mad if we had went back with Jacoby the following year. But my thing is, I just never thought Jacoby was the guy. Like I never thought whether we had T.Y. or any of them healthy or not, Jacoby could win us a couple games, but he's a backup for a reason.
He's a backup quarterback.
He's a backup for a reason. So he's meant to come in, you know, for certain amount of time, not for a whole season. And even with T.Y., like we've seen the depletion of T.Y. over the years. So even after that, he never really got back to himself. So I don't really think Jacoby would have really did much more for us than what he did that following or that year before. But I don't know. I mean, it's tough, man.
Look, cause y'all had, cause for let's say maybe 5 years, you've had a good defense, you've had a good offensive line. Jonathan Taylor came along, but even then, before Taylor, I wouldn't say Marlon Mack and Naheem Hines were like, you know, the best in the game, but they were competent backs. Like you had you had teams for the past few years where the only piece was missing was quarterback, and you felt like I think that's why they felt like just bringing the old guy that kind of knows what he's doing. And let's see what happens. But like you said, it's in the tough because nobody's really panned out.
Yeah, nobody's really panned out. And that's been the issue. Like, and then even with Naheem Hines and Marlon Mack, we didn't use them correctly. Like we, especially not Naheem
Hines.
We didn't use him correctly. And so, you know, now he's gone. He's in Buffalo.
But, were you cool with that? Were you cool with them trading him to Buffalo?
Yeah, I wasn't doing nothing with him.
We weren't doing it. We weren't doing anything with him, and that was another reason why I thought we were tanking because we went ahead and we traded him away. We wasn't utilizing him, and I mean, Naheem Hines. No, he's not a world beater at his position, but he's an ultimate gadget guy. Like he's a guy that can do everything for you. On the offensive side of the ball, he can run out in space. He can, you know, get some carries, go between the tackle a couple times. He can catch out the backfield. He can line up and slide and catch the ball. Like he was a receiver at NC State. So I was a little upset, but I wanted him to go somewhere where he could be used, where he could be utilized and find some success.
I agree.
So let's kind of fast forward because I think it's safe to say that the Colts are gonna miss out on postseason play here. So I'm just gonna kind of shift to the offseason and where you think they're gonna search for the head coach, the quarterback, and whatever other or Chris Ballard. Do you think Chris Ballard is safe? Like, I want you to kind of expand for me where you think they go in those directions.
Now, Irsay said that Ballard was safe, but also a few weeks before he fired Frank Wright, he said Frank Wright was safe as well. So, there's really no telling. I wouldn't mind for Ballard to be here still, but Ballard has to show the ability to do some things in free agency. He's amazing in the draft. He knows what he's doing when he's drafting. But our issue has been pass rush, has been offensive line. We've got somewhat of a pass rush this year. Like, we've been a little bit better with the pass rush this year. But we need to fix our offensive line. Left tackle, right guard. I've been saying it all offseason. Those were two big issues for us. After we let Mark Glowinski go and Chris Reed go.
Chris Reed, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have nothing there at right guard. Then left tackle, we had Fisher there last year. He was a shell of himself. After Costanzo retired, we didn't really have anything at left tackle. I do like Bernhard Raymond, so I hope, we continue to give him a shot and let him develop at that left tackle position because he's hella athletic, one of the most athletic tackles that was in the draft this year. But, I wouldn't mind if Chris Ballard was still there, but I want to see him do more in free agency. He went and got Stephon Gilmore this year. That was a big move.
Yeah.
He went and got Yannick with a trade. That was a big move. So I just want to see him do a little bit more this year in the offseason. As far as the quarterback in the draft, right now I think we said it like 14 or 15. The way it's looking, we might. I mean, I'm not saying that Hendon Hooker is going to be like this great quarterback in the NFL, but we might be lined up perfectly to pick him up in the draft, especially after the ACL injury this year. And now that gives him a year to rest, rehab his knee, because I'm pretty sure we'll keep Matt Ryan for next year. So you rest, rehab that knee, and then you come back the following year with it, not necessarily a year of experience, but like a year of picking up NFL knowledge,
right?
Where you didn't necessarily have to go out there and put your body at risk as well. So you picked up a lot of knowledge from Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is a smart quarterback.
Yeah,
he's a very smart quarterback. So now you get a wealth of knowledge from Matt Ryan, and you just rehabbing that knee, and then we see what we can do. Now he's an older quarterback, so I don't know. I don't really know what direction they're going at quarterback, though, to be honest.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and get to Monday's game. I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan who is desolate and desperate and pretty much over the playoffs. I don't think that's a thing that's going to happen for us this year, obviously. And you obviously, as well as a Colts, sound like you're in the same boat. So we're going to have a civilized discussion about what's going to happen because none of us are going anywhere. Well, how you feel about Monday's game?
Man, I feel like they should have flexed this game. But this game to me is probably going to look a lot like the Broncos and Colts game that was on Thursday night. The barn burner of
the 11 to 10 scored. Game, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. I don't know. This is such an ugly game, man.
Yeah.
And y'all always play us tough. Like the Steelers, no matter how good we are or how bad y'all are or whatever, it's always a tough game with the Steelers and the Colts. Always. So I don't expect it to be a crazy high scoring game at all.
Yeah, I agree. Look, man, I wish I could say I was looking forward to some trash talk and a little, and as a matter of fact, the last time I did this a couple of weeks ago with shout out Damian Adams, who's a Saints fan, we kind of gave off the same energy and we snuck out a win, but we still didn't get 20 points. So, or get over 20 points. So,
I was going to say, y'all scored 20.
We scored 20. Yeah, we didn't get over 20.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking this same thing. I mean, the only thing I could really say is we like to get to the quarterback and Matt Ryan don't like to run. So I can hope that maybe we get something going there. But I know y'all defense got a tendency to play tough. But it's not like Kenny Pickett got a whole lot going for him right now in this rookie year. So unless he has a breakout game, I'm gonna still say we win. Pittsburgh wins because
Of course you are.
Of course I am. And I'm gonna say along the lines of a 2013, along them lines. But I'd be lying to you if I said I'd be surprised. I'm surprised if we lost. So.
You know what? I want y'all to win because if y'all win, that just gives a higher draft position. So I'm good with that. Man, like, I don't know. After we had lost to the Titans twice, after I was already like, our season's gone because we're not winning the AFC South. And I was just like, our season's done. So, I mean, I cheer for my team. I pick my team to win games. But at the end of the day, I don't have no faith in us going out there and winning nothing, to be honest. Especially at this point. Like, we're, 4-6-1, I think, now?
Yeah.
So to say we're going to go rattle off six straight wins.
Right.
And somehow make the playoffs, man, a lot has to change between
in
now.
the AFC. In the AFC.
Yeah, in the AFC. Yeah, a lot has. And, I mean, we're right there. Like, we're right there flirting because, I mean, the Bengals – the Chargers. The Chargers just lost this past weekend.
Yep.
I know the Bengals won this weekend.
Yep.
And I forget who is right in front of us. But New England. Mm-hmm. So, and I think the Jets are somewhere in there too.
Jets is in there
we're
too.
right there.
Yep.
We're right there at like 11 or 10. But I mean, we got to depend on a lot of losing and a lot of winning from us.
Right.
So I hope y'all win, man. I hope y'all win. I know this ain't what y'all expected, but I hope y'all win. I want a higher draft position. Give me a higher draft position.
Yeah. Right. We got different goals. I'm trying to get Tomlin to get a winning season, so he can have a record for most consecutive winning seasons. Yeah. And yours is the more strategic play, which it should be. Yeah.
And I mean, I want to see Tomlin, continue to win.
Yeah,
I want to see that because
it's just
people,
for a record.
People talk a lot about Tomlin. Like they try to trash him a lot. So I just want him to continue to to do good things out there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's far from perfect, but he's definitely our coach and should be that for as long as he want to be that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, from a Ravens fan perspective though, I think it's wild how even some of the like I see on Twitter, some of the Pittsburgh fan base wants to get rid of Tomlin, and it's like, this dude hasn't had a losing season in 15 years, and the dude might break the record for consecutive winning seasons, and y'all want to get rid of this guy? Like, something is, and that's why, me and Maestro, we kind of have this thing where we understand that, it's us and then there's like our separate fan base. And it's like, there's some things that we really don't see eye to eye on. But even from a Ravens fan perspective, to get rid of Tomlin, that would just be wild to me. Like, somebody is he's going to be on the street 30 seconds. Somebody's going to get him if they somehow let him go. That's how good he is, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But kind of going back to the offensive line that you were talking about, Chris. So, and I guess this is kind of how me, and Meg started to follow each other on Twitter, because y'all both came at me for talking about the Colts and their play. I think the first maybe 4 weeks of the season, and I thought the offensive line was going to be good coming into the season. And the both of y'all kind of schooled me, like, hold on a minute, like, there's some departures, there's some injuries, and this line is not as good as what you think. And so for the offseason, that's got to be something you got to address, right?
Yeah, you have to. And what kind of hurt us this season was when Eric Fisher, or they decided not to keep Eric Fisher. Chris Ballard said, we're going to give Matt Pryor a first shot at the left tackle position. Matt Pryor, I think, started one game in his career at left tackle.
Yeah,
Matt Pryor is a guard. Like, he's not fast enough to play on the outside, especially not on the blind side for the quarterback. He's a guard, and he's good for fill-in duty. Like, maybe I need you to start a game here, or maybe I need you to play a couple plays here because so-and-so had to go out for a couple plays or something like that. That's what Matt Pryor is good at. That's what he's good for. So them guaranteeing him the starting spot going into the season at left tackle, one of the most prized positions on the field.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. My bad. My son is trying
good.
to get up.
You're good.
It wasn't good, but like, I don't know. So that definitely has to be addressed. I'm pissed off that we didn't keep Glowinski or we didn't keep Chris Reed.
Yeah,
because both of them played extremely well.
Straight good.
Last year.
I remember Reed playing really good.
Yeah. And Reed was one of those guys because he added depth to our offensive line. Because if somebody went out along the front, you know, the guard or the left, right guard or the center or whatever, Chris Reed could fill in good.
Right.
And so I was a little upset that we let him go. Just let him walk for nothing. And then we didn't really like replace him. Like we didn't replace either one of them. So that definitely has to be addressed this offseason. Like you have to, whether it's in the draft or whether you're going out and find a free agent that can play that position.
So obviously we're gonna say that's the Jonathan Taylor issue this year.
That and I believe so. I think that's been Jonathan Taylor's issue as well, and us running out of shotgun so much. We've seen the last couple of weeks we've been running out of single back a lot more, and he's been a lot more effective in the run game. But also our offensive line hasn't gotten pushed to the second level. Like they get beat up at the front four, and they'll never get back to the second level.
Right.
And that's been another issue. We saw that. We just saw it last week in the Eagles game. We saw that against the Titans. Both times we played the Titans. We saw it against the Jaguars. I think the only time, like before the Raiders game, the last 100-yard game he had was week 1 against the Texans. And we know their run defense isn't good at all.
Right.
And we know the Raiders' run defense isn't good. So we went out there and we did what we were supposed to do against 2 bad rushing defenses. Other than that, we've been middle of the pack with that, between the seasons. So like, I think that's partly offensive line and partly also because Jonathan Taylor's been a little banged up this year. You know, he had the high ankle sprain and tried to come back a game too early, ended up re-injuring it, sat out 2 more games, something like that. So it's just been a year for us, man. It's been a year for us.
You got a preference at quarterback? I know you mentioned the kid that would probably go at number 4 around the 14 number 14 spot. But do you have a preference for anybody that's maybe going to be in the top 5 coming out the draft?
Yeah, I would actually like Bryce Young, to be honest. Out of all of them, and more so just because it's nothing against CJ Stroud. I'm just not really. I haven't seen a lot from CJ Stroud. We've seen Bryce this year with not all the talent around him like he's had the previous years, and we've seen him still be very productive. We still seen him go out there and win games in late drives, and I think part of that's the reason part of that is with his father being a therapist or something, so he's able to help him through like those mental moments and give him that mental fortitude. Like he's helped instill that mental fortitude into Bryce. So when you see the game on the line, Bryce never wavers. Like he never wavers.
Yeah,
he just looks calm, still keeps that smile on his face, and goes out there and he makes plays. CJ hasn't really had those moments yet, and so I'm not saying that he's not capable of them. He just hasn't had them, and part of that is because you have like a Smith and Jigba, you have a Marvin Harrison Jr., you have a Trey Henderson, you have these dynamic players on offense where you just give them the ball and they're gonna make it do what it do.
Right.
So
that's a fact.
So I would like I would like Bryce. If we had the chance to get him, I would like to get Bryce. But I think the Texans is gonna end up getting him, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Couple more questions from me. You mentioned Peyton Manning earlier. Just interested to hear the rest of your top 5 Colts.
Yeah, so Peyton, of course. Then I gotta go Marvin Harrison, Sr. I gotta go Jeff Saturday, Reggie Wayne. What's that, 4?
That's 4. Yep.
Yeah, Jeff Saturday, Reggie Wayne. And if Bob Sanders could stay healthy, he would be up there, but I gotta go.
I remember Bob Sanders,
Yeah, I gotta go Robert Mathis, man.
Robert Mathis, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta go with Robert Mathis. But
no Dwight Freeney?
See, and that's hard, man. Like,
yeah.
both of them. But I mean, Dwight Freeney, it'll be a tie between him and Robert, to be honest. Because I mean, just that tandem,
Yeah, right.
on the defensive line was nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Them two dudes was nasty. But Reggie Wayne, I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. He from the U. He played for my favorite college and pro team. So Reggie definitely got to be up there. He did what he did. I mean, he was a baller.
Yeah, for sure.
He was a baller.
That's
for sure.
So yeah, that got to be my top 5 right there.
Yeah, I mean, arguably all Hall of Famers. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I don't think
Reggie's still waiting.
I think he's in though. I think he'll be in. Eventually.
So
Eventually, yeah.
You don't think he gets in on the first ballot, Reggie Wayne?
He was eligible last year, I think.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was eligible last year, and I think he was a finalist, but he didn't get picked.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one position, man. It's
wide
tough.
receiver. Yeah, wide receiver is
It's tough.
Yeah,
because you still got guys like Steve Smith. And I don't know if Fitzgerald's nowhere near.
Not yet.
Andre Johnson was on there last year. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of Ocho still hasn't gotten in. So like, there's a lot of names that are waiting to get in that Reggie will probably have to wait behind.
Yeah, and I could think that list though, man.
I was trying to think of somebody that might have been missing. I mean, I get that some people may have put Edgerrin, Marshall Faulk, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, me personally, I definitely would have had Marshall Faulk on there. But I guess he was more of a Ram than he was.
He was definitely more of a Ram.
Yeah,
he did his thing with the Colts, but after that rookie contract, he was gone. Like, he was with the Rams for his career.
Right.
Edgerrin definitely has the argument to be up there. I mean, shoot, you can put Dallas Clark in there.
Dallas Clark was another name I was thinking about.
There's a lot of names you can really put in that top 5.
From that generation of Colt teams, like that's kind of really it, you know.
I was just getting ready to say, when I was thinking about your list, that was from a time when the Colts were, I mean, obviously they were the
dominant.
best. Yeah.
Perennial, they were perennial, playoff teams.
And nobody could be mad at it unless you was an older diehard Colts fan from way back when.
Unless you wanted like a Johnny Unitas in there.
Right.
That.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have too many gripes with that.
Yeah. Nah, I don't got an issue with the list either. But yeah, I mean, a lot of Hall of Famers that played for that franchise.
For certain. In that time
too, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. My last one for you, man. You got the Yankees logo in the back, man. What's gonna happen with Judge? They gonna sign him? What you think, man?
I hope so, man. They said they submitted an offer to him. I know he's in San Francisco now, so we'll see what happens in the coming days. I don't think there'll be a decision made yet. But we'll see what happens probably after Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm hoping we resign him. Like we got to bring him back. We got to figure something out to get him back.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. Hal is not his daddy. Like, that's one thing that we could say about this organization now post George Steinbrenner. Yeah. He's not what George would have been doing, like he did back in the 90s. And it just seems like they're stuck to this old, we're going to operate like a small market team. And that's not what they are. They got money.
They're not.
They got money. You know what I mean? And as a New Yorker myself, and I look at what the Mets have done with the new ownership they got, they're a threat to get Aaron Judge too. So
yeah,
I don't want to lose him. I mean, bad enough might lose him to the Giants. I don't want to lose him to the Mets.
Yeah. Definitely don't want to lose him to the Mets. Definitely
don't want to lose him to that team.
To the Mets.
No offense.
Not at all.
No offense. No offense to that team. I've been to some Met games in my childhood, but I don't want to see Aaron Judge over there. Not one bit.
I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know if your wound has healed yet, but just in case it hasn't, I'm gonna throw a little salt in there. Because I know Trey's. I know Trey. I know it hasn't healed for Trey yet. How you feel about the Astros, man?
Can I cuss? Like,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely,
Go ahead,
man.
man. Go ahead,
Absolutely.
hey, listen, man.
Go
The
ahead.
Astros be whooping our ass. Like, I don't know what it is, but they be on our ass every time we play them. They be on our ass. Playoffs, regular season, it don't matter, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the hell it is, but they kick our ass every time. And this year, a sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It
you
was
couldn't
nasty.
win one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
It's rock bottom for us, man.
Yeah, that was rock bottom.
That's
And, I mean,
rock bottom.
Judge didn't play particularly well in that game, in those games either. I mean, I'm not going to stall him out on that either. Like, he didn't play particularly well.
Yeah.
But I mean, really nobody did. But
their pitching is better than ours, man. It's their pitching.
Do you think they still cheating?
yeah, I still think they got something going on. I mean, there was a report came out during the World Series where somebody had used a illegal bat in the first game, and they found that out. And so like they're not doing what they used to do, but they're still doing a little something over there.
And the reality
trying
is,
to find
though,
a way.
man, all the teams in the league are cheating.
Somehow, some way,
all the
yeah.
teams
That's the
they do
reality,
something.
man.
All
do
the teams
something.
in every sport.
Yeah. I mean, in that Padres Mets series, I think it was Game 3, the final game of the series that the Mets lost, the manager actually went out to tell the umpires, "Yo, this pitcher got something behind his ear," because the pitcher kept going behind his ear, like he had some kind of substance behind it, and he kept rubbing the ball with it. And so the umps was checking him out, and they didn't find nothing. And that was at the point in the game where the Mets was just getting their ass kicked in that game. So I guess Buck was trying to, find a way to maybe, get something in there, but they got their asses handed to them in that series. So, but yeah, all the teams are cheating in one way or the other. They're cheating, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I think that too.
Yeah, you got something else,
sure.
Maestro?
Nah, man, I was just gonna say, man, we appreciate you, man. It's always good to talk good old Yankees talk with you guys. I'm not a Yankees fan by any stretch. But go ahead and plug your social media platforms, your shows, everything you got going on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, just want to say appreciate y'all for having me on and everything. It's an honor, man. Appreciate it.
No doubt.
But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at DropBallsPod, man. I have a lot of fun on Twitter. I have a lot of fun on Twitter. I troll, I talk shit, all of that, all of the above. I have a lot of fun. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter at DropBallsPod. I do have my own podcast, Drop Balls Podcast. I put that out. I try to do it every week. Sometimes it's been a little busy the past few weeks for me. I've been busy doing a lot of other things, traveling, and stuff like that. But we definitely putting out a show this week. And you can catch my writings on IndieIntercept.com. I also post them on my Twitter and on my Facebook and everything. So you can catch my writings there. We'll have 2 out this week, I believe, as well. So yeah, that's everything for me. I mostly be on Twitter. That's my bread and butter right there.
I can dig it.
Yeah,
I dig it. Let's hope Elon Musk get it together.
Yeah, because he had me tripping a couple of days ago.
He had everybody tripping. had me posting my IG accounts, man.
Hey, me too, man. I'm like, I gotta go back to IG.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't know what was going on until the next morning. And so I was like, oh, everybody doing this? Let me go ahead and do this just in case some shit go on. Yeah, but yeah, for sure. Look, man, we appreciate you, bruh. Don't be a stranger. I'm gonna make sure I follow you on Twitter as well because I need to see what's going on. And yeah, let's stay linked up.
Yeah, for sure.
And shout out again to your co-host Megan Hall. Get well soon. Hope she gets back up on her feet and deals with her health and all that good stuff. And
yes, for sure.
We'll continue to watch you guys. Do your thing on the podcast, and we'll be tuning in, man.
For sure. Appreciate y'all, man.
All right,
all right, bro. You be safe out there.
All right, y'all too.
All right, bro.
All right. That was Chris Lewis of IndieIntercept.com, sports writer for that blog. Also got his own podcast, Drop Balls Podcast. You can follow him on Twitter as well. So I guess before Chris came on, we were kind of talking about New York football a little bit there, but we were discussing the Jets, and I know you seem disinterested in talking about New York football, but I think the point I'm trying to get to is that there's an overreaction from both fan bases, but in particular the Jets. The quarterback was trash. The defense played a great game against New England, and they got questions at the quarterback spot, man.
But we knew that.
We knew that. I'm now more so referring to that this dude ain't gonna start next week. That's a real possibility right now. That's something that they're discussing. They don't have a better, they don't have a better option.
Exactly, he's playing.
They don't have a better option, and if you look at what the Bears got going on, and Justin Fields, I thought played a good game against Atlanta last week. He injured his shoulder, and so now there's questions about if Justin Fields is going to play against the Jets on Sunday. And I got to imagine if you're the Jets, whether he plays or not, you kind of got to stick with the kid a little bit.
I mean, I don't think it's a question. You stick with the kid. I mean, look. He played a trash game.
Yeah,
he played a trash game. Let's be clear. But he's been mid at his best. He's been mid. So I don't understand what we're confused about. The Patriots is not a slouch team.
Yep.
They've owned them.
They've owned them.
Yeah.
14 straight wins.
And the Jets have overachieved this year, much like the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets have overachieved. So it's like, look, man, just enjoy the time. I don't know if Wilson is the quarterback of the future. I know everybody else has their opinion. I'm going to just say I don't know. Mm-hmm. But that's what you got for this season, man. I don't think you go back. Is Flacco the backup still? Or is he hurt?
Now, I thought he was inactive, but I saw Stephen A. tweet on Sunday that he thought they should have pulled Wilson out the game and put Flacco in at a certain point in that game, and
no,
I think I think Mike White was the number 2 that day.
Okay.
So, but if you're talking about Mike White, he ain't the answer either.
I mean, look, he had I remember. I don't know if it was last year where he had a couple of
last year against
games.
The Bengals.
Yeah, he had a couple of decent games. I remember, but
it was only one decent game. It was only one.
Okay.
It was only one. It was one game, and then I think he started a game against Buffalo when he got hurt.
Okay.
And then played Indy, I think maybe a week or two after, and they got stomped. So, yeah, he ain't the answer either.
Zach Wilson is your quarterback. You drafted him to be that. Let it play out until you know for a fact he's not the answer.
Yeah. I understand what he said in the post game. I think that's what's getting a lot more of the headlines is when the guy asked him, do you feel like you let your defense down? And he said no. That I can understand that response kind of turning some people off, including players on that team and particularly players on that defense. That kind of gave it their all. So I understand the idea of maybe sitting him down 1 week to kind of send a message to say, hey, we don't appreciate the play, number one, but number two, you kind of not taking this leadership stance. I understand that, but at the end of the day, when I think about everything that's happened with them this past week, I think you're better off sticking with Zach Wilson, because when I look at the catalog of games, and I know Flacco started the first 3 games, you can argue and say the game that Flacco won against Cleveland, you can argue Zach Wilson probably wouldn't have won that game. But then when you look at their game against the Steelers and the comeback, you can make the argument Flacco probably wasn't going to win that game.
Exactly.
So it's like all you're doing is you're replacing one guy that you think ain't going to win a particular game for you with a guy that people think is not going to win a particular game. So it really makes it to me. It makes absolutely no sense.
And I disagree. And I even disagree with it's for the people who feel like sit him down because he didn't exhibit good leadership in that moment. No, you just sit him down and say, "Hey, bro, answer that question better next time." You don't sit him down a game for that.
Nah, not just for that. No.
No.
You don't
So
do
anybody
that.
who feels that way, I disagree with that too.
Nah,
He's your
don't do that.
quarterback. He's your quarterback. He's your quarterback you drafted at that. Treat him like that's what you did.
Yeah. Is he the reason the Jets are winning games? No, he's not.
No.
He's
But
not.
he ain't the reason they losing.
Yeah, right. Well.
Sometimes,
well.
I would say in this game, yes. In this particular game, yes.
Yeah.
But let's not act like he didn't win against Pittsburgh. Let's not act like he won. He's
The
one
comeback,
game
yes, that's the one game
game.
that stands out. That's the one game that stands out.
So is it safe to say it's one? I mean, obviously, me and you don't watch Jets football that crazy,
Right.
but he won one and he lost one. Everything else, he's been mid.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Right, and even that Pittsburgh game, because of the interceptions that Kenny Pickett threw, you could kind of argue the defense was helping the offense get that ball back. So he's been at the best this season. He's been mid. He's been a mid quarterback. This is rock bottom for him. I don't think he's going to play like this against Chicago. I don't think he's going to play like this, the rest of the season. And, without kind of knowing the schedule, I don't see this kind of terrible quarterback play. I think what you got to start doing if you're the offensive coordinator is, look, Corey Davis is going to come back. He's one of your best players on offense. Elijah Moore, what's the kid? Braxton Berrios that be running punts for them sometimes. Yeah, I think you got to kind of get him involved. Maybe, throwing some, maybe not trick plays, but maybe some plays for him. You got a couple good running backs. I would say, too, if you're the OC, man, call some better games, man, because it's not like what I'm seeing out there. And I watched a little bit of this game. Zach Wilson couldn't even throw a 10-yard pass to Braxton Berrios. Like, he kind of threw it over his head. You know what I mean? Like, little things like that, is concerning. But I think if you're the OC, I think you can find better ways to help the quarterback out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. That's way more New York football than I care to talk about. But I mean, you ain't say nothing wrong. I mean, look, man, again, it's overreaction. To get back to the main point, this is all the New York football headline that's been floating around is an overreaction.
It's an overreaction,
and it's no need because it's like y'all acting like all of a sudden New York football, these are good teams. All of a sudden they're playing good right now, but they're not good teams. And you know what I'm saying. So
sure, it's overreaction.
In the grand scheme of things, they might make wild card. That's their ceiling. They'll make a playoff spot in the wild card. That's the ceiling.
Given what it's been the last 10 years, Maestro, let's be honest. It's been 11 years since the Jets made the playoffs.
Yeah, but it's still a mid-team.
I get it. The Giants have made the playoffs, once in the last 9-10 years. That's a lot of absent, playoff games for both teams combined. So when you finally get these two teams playing some good football,
celebrate them and stop overreacting when they lose.
You can celebrate them, but I don't think it's crazy to have a realistic view that, hey, these teams can make the playoffs.
Sure, but my point is, and I just want to make sure I'm driving the point home.
Yep,
these are overreactions because your teams are winning games that nobody, y'all didn't have them being a winning team.
Yep.
I didn't have these teams being winning teams.
Nobody thought the Giants would beat the Green Bay Packers, and I know the Green Bay Packers are some trash right now. They trash.
They trash.
But nobody saw that coming. You know what I mean? Nobody saw the Jets beating the Buffalo Bills after being down 14-3 in that game.
Yeah, man. Yeah, overreaction.
Expectations change when you think your team is bad and they start winning games. And they get a good record halfway through the year.
Take it from Pittsburgh fans. Just be happy that your team is good this year.
Yeah, I don't know if I was a New York fan that I would be taking that advice from Pittsburgh, a team that's perennially been good.
And now we're trash, right, this season.
Yeah.
So we would rather be having a winning season right now than a losing season.
Sure. But I
take it from us. We want to be having a winning season like y'all are, and we are not.
Sure.
Be happy that you're getting that.
Hey, I understand it, New York. Y'all go ahead and overreact. But in my opinion, it's gonna cost one of these two teams a playoff spot with the losses that they suffered this past weekend. I think it's gonna cost one of these teams a playoff spot.
Well, I ain't have the Jets or the Giants going. Me
neither.
So
me neither. So
I wouldn't be surprised.
If
both of them miss the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised. But again, if you have a winning season, which I think me and you kind of talked about, if you have a winning season as the Giants, that's a celebration, regardless.
If
of
they
what
could get
happens.
to 10, that's a celebration. If they get to 10 wins,
if they get 9,
yes, that is true. Compared to previous seasons, yes. Same thing with the Jets. If the Jets, if they get to 7,
this is a win.
For the Jets, if they get to 7, like that's something to really kind of celebrate. But they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that because because
all of a sudden they're a good team. Like, cut it out.
Expectations change, bruh. That's just how it is, man. That's just how it is, bruh. Anything else?
Absolutely nothing.
Kind of caught your eye over the weekend?
Absolutely nothing else. I think we've covered everything.
Okay. All right.
I mean, if you want to talk about, I don't want to. I feel like we're stretching this conversation, but I mean, if you want to say, look, the Cowboys caught the Vikings at the right time this year, at the right time of the season. Mm-hmm. That's no shade to Dallas because Dallas is a playoff team as me and you have discussed last week. I don't think pending major collapse, the Cowboys are in the playoffs.
Yep.
But they caught one of the better teams in the NFC at the right time, fresh off of that emotional win against Buffalo, and they laid an egg. But this is, in my opinion, not an indictment on Minnesota at all. This is just you caught them slipping. Yeah, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, I don't buy into the -2 point differential with the Vikings because really all that really tells me is that, and like we've been talking about, the Vikings win tight, close games, and in the 2 losses that they suffered, they've been blowouts. I mean that explains your -2 point differential. That doesn't mean that the Vikings are not a good team. It just means that's how they've been playing.
Well, but even, I mean, sure, but even more to that, I think if the Vikings lost to Buffalo or didn't have to play that kind of a game against Buffalo, that game is a closer game. Win or lose, that game against Dallas doesn't happen that way.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Mm-hmm. The Vikings are a better team than they put on the field against Dallas. There's no doubt in my mind that that's what happened.
Yeah. No, I agree. I didn't have anything to really discuss about this past weekend's games, just to kind of answer your question a little earlier there. I think I feel the same way this week how I felt last week as far as who I think's, playoff team, who I think, schedules is tough, soft. I still feel the same way. Nobody's played a game where I thought, oh, their season is, like for certain their season is gonna unravel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it kind of stays the same here.
I mean, if anybody had hope for the Packers, that's dead. I'll say that.
Yeah, because everybody thought the Titans, didn't have a shot, but that they weren't going to beat Green Bay.
Right. This was a winnable game for Green Bay, and they didn't win.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, they needed this game.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they did. Because they're going to get stomped by Philly, I think.
Yeah. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind.
I think Philly's going to lay the wood to Green Bay this coming Sunday. It's going to be bad, bro. It's going to be bad. I just got one more thing, man. I just wanted to bring up the announcement that the homie Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia will be fighting in Las Vegas. January 7th, I think, is the date. that's one of the
Yeah.
more anticipated matchups.
Biggest the biggest fight both of them have had in their careers.
Yep.
Definitely a fight that needed to happen. Can't wait. Still waiting for Bud Crawford and Errol Spence to get their shit together. But this is a good consolation prize. This is a great consolation prize, to be a matter of fact. I mean, some would say that this is probably a more anticipated. No, nobody would say that. But I could see how people would be more interested in this fight than in Errol Spence and Bud Crawford. I could see that. I don't think it's the most anticipated fight though, but this is definitely going to be a great fucking fight.
Yeah, no, I agree. This will be a good one. Now, if I remember, actually, I don't remember what held up Errol Spence.
Well, they announced that they had a date, and then maybe a day later they didn't have a date, and I don't know what's going on. They've been kind of talking back and forth on Twitter.
Yeah,
I haven't been 100% glued to the conversation, but I thought I had a date, and a day later I didn't have a date, and so now I'm back at square one as far as that goes. I don't care about all the Twitter exchanges and politics. Get the damn fight done so I could see the fight, and so I could put my money on Errol Spence.
All right, that's what's up. Yeah, man. I actually had two more things, but I just don't think it's worth the time. I'm hungry. I just had some salmon come out the oven, and I'm ready to eat, bro.
I'm hating on you right now, bro. I ain't got no salmon coming out the oven, man. I got to hurry up and start dating seriously, man, because I would love to think there was some salmon was coming about my oven right now, man. That I didn't have to cook.
Right. Yeah, man. I'm thinking about that food already, bro. I'm ready. I'm ready to just kind of wrap this thing up and
shout out to Debs, man.
Yeah. Shout out to my wife. Shout out to her. And also shout out to everybody in the chats, YouTube live chat, Mocha Bella, I see you. Vince Wright, appreciate you. Appreciate everybody in the Facebook live chat. Thanks again to Chris Lewis for coming on, talking some Colts football with us. Appreciate that. Make sure y'all go follow that brother on his social media platforms. Also with this episode, if you guys are listening on iHeartRadio, Spotify, whatever you get your podcasts, make sure y'all drop a review. Let us know what you think. And we got these platforms. YouTube, make sure y'all click on the subscribe button. Facebook, click the like button as well. We're on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. You can also follow us on the gram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. And if you got any questions or comments about the show, just hit us up on email at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. So, my brother,
yes, sir.
State your location, man. Thanksgiving. What's popping for the holidays, man?
Well, I don't know yet. It's I'm probably gonna be at my aunt's house. I'm trying to figure out if I'm really gonna drive all the way to Calvert County. I'm trying to figure that out. But tomorrow I will have a full house full of my sister, nieces, and nephews.
That's right.
Yeah, and my grandmother's turning 80 over the weekend, so happy birthday, mama.
Yeah, happy
love
birthday.
you.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, so we going party. We going party. I'm DJing. We gonna go up.
That's what's up. That's
1960s style. So
That's what's up.
And then I'll be in Georgia for the week. So
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You still gonna try to do the show next week, right? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll still be there. That's what's up. That's what's up. Actually, it's weird. The guest that I'm trying to get on for next week's show actually is going to be in the same state as you, so we'll see how that works out. But speaking of birthdays, man, happy birthday to my cousin Fred. I know you met Fred at the crib here during the Super Bowl, this past Super Bowl. But happy birthday to him. I'm gonna be. Go ahead.
I got one more birthday shout out. If we're doing birthday shout outs, my little sister. Shout out my little sister. She turns 18 next week.
Woo! Man. man,
My
that was
Lord.
fast. That was
Man,
fast.
My Lord.
I remember the day when you told me your pops and your stepmom was having a baby, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, really? Like you
2000,
gonna have a little sister, and we was what?
2004.
How old was we? What, 20?
Whenever, however old
21?
I was in 2004. I don't know.
We was 21, and
I don't know. However old I was in 2004.
about to have a little sister. That I thought that was wild, but you know, my dad's got a sister that's 20 years older than him, so it's not that crazy. Not that crazy at all. Yeah, I'm gonna be up in New York, starting Thanksgiving Day. I'm actually gonna have a chance to go visit my aunt up in Queens. She's been in a rehab center for a while. I was just talking to my cousin about her, you know, a couple of hours before I got on, and she says she in good spirits. You know, she's doing well. She's enjoying the environment a little bit. So I thought about, you know, taking Pops with me and just, you know, making a visit up there.
Yeah.
One of those days, either Friday or Saturday, one of the two. But yeah, I'll be back home up top, you know, with the fam, and you know, enjoying some time off. More importantly, bro, because because bro, you have no idea how long I've been waiting for this moment, bro. It's been a while. Just the time off from, you know, the regular routine.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
So appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, it's love, my brother.
No doubt. Everybody out there, y'all enjoy the Thanksgiving. Y'all enjoy your holidays, and you know, keep your close ones close to you. And we're gonna holler at you next week. Peace, one love.
Drink some water.
Recording